We have a bit of an emergency um, here in our podcasts and in our space on Twitter. That emergency is a planetary emergency, but we consider it our emergency because we're part of the human race. And unless we deal with this as if what's happening to one of us is happening to all of us, until then, we're not going to get out of whatever it is that we're going into. The first thing that this episode of our podcast is to deal with a crisis in Russia, but it's a crisis that can trigger to any other crisis. So we're not going to really talk about Russia, nor are we going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about how human beings create reality. We create reality. Intention creates reality. Our intention creates reality. This that is going on the planet, we created because we did not have the information that we needed to understand that we were creating every step of the way. And hopefully in everything that we put out, not just in our podcast here in Twitter, but everything else that we're doing mainly here in Twitter because we feel a kind of protection, we hope that we'll be able to get you back to what your religion was supposed to teach you well, but apparently didn't, or maybe you weren't listening. We're going to start with a basic, and that is this, which you're going to say, why is she going to that old controversy? This dress was a controversy about 5 years ago. It was constructed gold and white. The fringe is gold, and then the basic where the pleats are is white. Brilliant. But you need to print it out, and you need to put it on your refrigerator door, because when you have a panic attack or a rage attack, you will not see this dress in this color. You will see it in a different color. You'll see it in browns and blues. How's that possible? It's the cleanest example I have of how you create reality. It's the same dress, but you have a filter that you're seeing through of rage, of depression, of confusion, and you're not getting the gold or the white, the brilliant white. You're getting something different. And it can be on the same day. It could be 5 minutes apart, because your vibration will change what you see. So when you look at what's going on in the world, your vibration will change what you see and how you view it. Excuse me, my talisman has just shown up. It's my dog, Lucky Lola. Come on. You want to come? Come, or you're going to make them wait? You're going to make everybody wait? Okay. Or you're going to wait. Apparently not quite ready. So we're going to be doing now, I don't know how many minutes you'll tolerate it. We're going to be doing mantras and mudras for the current crisis that we have right now on the planet, which is what's going on in Russia. So, what is a mantra? It's a device that liberates the mind. That is the definition of a mantra. What is it liberating? It's liberating those 72,000 green mind streams that you see extended from the center of the human body. Those are the mind strings from string theory. I discovered, unraveled, and figured out string theory. But those strings are in the Lord's Prayer. Originally in Aramaic, it talks about those strings and how they get knotted. So those strings get knotted in order for there to be able to be a war, a fight, or a misunderstanding. If there is no war, no fight, it's because those strings are relaxed. What messes up the strings the most today? Excess fire, solar flares, radiation from your computer, etc. So what is it that you'll excuse me because I'm actually looking for my notes, and it would be nice to find them so that I can actually feel like I'm giving you a good experience, because if not, I'm not going to feel good, at which time I'm not going to have as great. So this podcast is called News from Other Dimensions. And what is that all about? I was trained since I was a child. I was put in a secret program. My followers love when I tell them stories of the tortures and the different awful things that were done to me in order to expand my mind, for me to become many different things, none of which I'm proud of, but The one that I use the most is they trained me to become a psychic spy. They trained all my psychic abilities. So another day, I'll tell you more stories. Today, we have a bit of a planetary emergency, so we're going to try and stay focused, which is not easy for somebody like me. Anytime you've had a lot of trauma, it's hard to stay focused. Anytime you're bored, it's hard to stay focused. I'm not bored, but there is a lot of trauma. So you know who I am. This podcast is called News from Other Dimensions. And I'm going to remind you that this ability to create that I'm talking about was mentioned several times in the last several weeks when the people that have dealt with aliens and that have actually talked to them have said that the aliens contend that human beings don't know who they are, that we're really very powerful. And we are. We can create magic. And the number one example of that is the karate master that is able to break a board with his hand. Well, you cannot break a board with your hand. You know that. I know that. They break a board with their hand and we accept it. They do it repeatedly. That's a miracle. That's a repeatable miracle. And that's what we all have to learn to do in order to get the earth on track. But we can all do it. It requires focus. It requires control of your mind. You can't be multitasking. You need to have focus and you need to know what it is that you want. And you cannot allow external factors such as a potential war in Russia to take you off your track. I have intentions. This that is happening could have pulled me totally off track with, oh my God, I don't have the book finished. I do have it finished. I don't have it out yet. It could explain all of this. I don't have an assistant and I always make mistakes on all the graphics that I make and I don't know how to set things up properly because I'm not into technology because of my age. Da, 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 da. You know what? I know what my intention is, and my intention is to give you tools. So here we're going to go ahead with and I don't see that I was able to get it up here. Oh, well. We're going to do MUDRAS, which is a device that liberates the mind, which is really liberating the mind streams that's in the original Lord's Prayer and mantras, and then mudras, which are positions of the mind, positions of the hands that change your mind. So right now you can try one, okay? Breathe. And now put the two center fingers together. Extend the other two. Keep breathing. And see how your solar plexus loosens up. It's also very good for sex because it really takes you down to the lower chakras. Okay? It's good for grounding. It's good for listening. It's good for everything for being in the moment. So you can go ahead and do this if you want. And let's go ahead and start with the first mantra. But I'm going to put the dress back up. Okay? Give me a second. Here's the dress. See the dress? Whatever color you see it, just make a note. Now, the second note you're going to make, this is not a class, but sometimes I talk as if I'm a teacher. You're going to figure out how you feel right now from 1 to 10. 1, you feel like you want to die. 10, you feel fabulous. Where are you at right now? Okay, now we're going to go, and I know I did that graphic, but I'm not seeing it here. Okay. We're going to go with the first mantra. If you can do your mudra, 2 center fingers with the thumb, and put them on the top of your legs, breathe. And the mantra is, if somebody can put it in the chat, which I'm not sure all of you can see. And the mantra is, please God, help me with my intention. No, we're going to do the purification mantra. Even though I'm afraid, I love and accept myself. So go ahead and start. The mantras are repeated in silence. You repeat it in your head. Oh, there's blue coming out of me here. Now, I have the power of induction, which means that when you're in my presence, even on a streaming, you will have the benefit of my psychic abilities that will help to pull you higher up, and you will be more psychic, more intuitive. So forget what you were before you got onto this chat and just melt into all of this. Repeat the mantra the purification mantra in silence. Even though we are afraid, I love and accept myself. Now all of this is blue. This is all getting blue. All of this is blue. And that blue is going and washing over all of you. Keep breathing, even though we're afraid. I love and accept myself. Now, in between your legs, lowest part of the trunk of the body, is your root chakra. That's where most fear resides. Take your breath in the mantra and telegram it down there, in between your legs. Even though we're afraid, I love and accept myself. Keep going. And I don't know how to get music here from my music therapy videos. I apologize. Maybe that by the next time I will know how to do it. But I am going to put a music on now. Keep doing the mantra. Don't move your mouth with the words. Even though we are afraid, I love and accept myself. Oh, how interesting. I'm seeing Twitter now. And I'm seeing a spiraling of energy, which is going in the direction of the crown chakra, which is faith and connection to God. This is not a religious ceremony. It is a connection to faith, trust, and I see it on Twitter. I think from what I can see, it doesn't really matter where I go that has anything to do with sharing information. There's an awful lot of negative information to be shared. And it's accurate, and it's real, and it's important. But we have to balance it all. We have to purify the stuff that we don't want stuck to us, and we have to not repeat. We can't get obsessed with watching the news. Here we go again. And by the way, this is my right eye. It's bothering me. That's an entity trying to take me down on the physical dimension. Continue. I'm going to put the music on. Continue. Even though we are afraid, I love and accept myself. I see several of you kind of going like this, kind of like shaking your heads. If this doesn't sound good, somebody needs to let me know in the chat, okay? This is a music that's for your second sacral chakra, 2 inches below your belly button. Okay? Keep going. Even though we are afraid, I love and accept myself. You're trying to clear fear from humanity. This music video should be ready this coming week. Any type of sexual dysfunction, any lack of joy, this is very good for this particular piece of music that was composed for the Mantristas for the second chakra. Oh dear, I can still hear it, and that's not a good idea. How are you feeling? Now rate yourself from 1 to 10. How do you feel? I feel more relaxed. I'm less afraid that I'm going to get something wrong on this podcast, on this video. I'm more relaxed. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to make it. Now we're going to go ahead and do the second mantra, which is the intention mantra. Please, God, help us with our intention to have world peace. That sounds like such an empty phrase. Phrase. That's been used so much. But maybe it's been used by people that don't actually understand that we created the discord and we can recreate it and create peace. If you don't know that, then this statement, help us with our intention to have world peace, is just another statement, another words that we throw out with the hope. There is no hope here. We're intending, which is how reality is created on planet Earth. And the fact that you feel better will tell you that that reality has changed, that you're more capable of creating a better reality. So go ahead and start. You repeat the words in your head. You blow the air through your mouth. And we're going to do this longer because this is the important one. You can apply this to anything. And I would take the energy to my heart center, to in between the breasts. Okay, so go ahead and start. And I will put the music back on. As soon as I find it. Continue. Let me tell you what I'm seeing in Twitter. As you're doing the graphics, you're recreating reality. You have an intention. You've purified something that's blocking what you want, which is peace. And then you are going into intending peace. What I see now in Twitter is at the center, there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of frustration. Right now, I'm just seeing Twitter, for whatever reason, frustration that with all the good people, all the work, all the information, we're not in charge of the world. Where things happen, and that's the mistake. Things don't happen. We create. We just didn't know it. We didn't know that we have the instruments, which is our mind, which are 72,000 strings, which string theory is about. But they don't. Are they going to listen to me? Never. I have a university degree. I'm bright. Not part of that crowd. No, I'm not. If I was part of that crowd, I would have never found the resolution to string theory. But I'm giving it to you. So we are now, maybe because all of you are coming from Twitter, and that's why I'm seeing this in Twitter. But at the center of that spiraling, which was wonderful, there's a lot of red getting released, which is frustration and anger. Like something coming here to mess up our fun, because honestly, we've been having fun on Twitter. With all the awful things that are happening, we're still having fun. And it's not because of Elon Musk's cage fight, which is complete craziness. That has augmented the fun. There's just something about it. And maybe it's Elon Musk's intention for us to have more fun in our life, which means he's very operational in the second chakra, which is the one that this music is for. So there's a release of frustration in Twitter with this that we're doing, even if we won't ever really know how many people saw this video, because all my numbers, including on Twitter, are completely sat on, I think you call it shadow ban, whatever you call it. Those are not the true numbers, we know that. But whatever it is, we are influencing Twitter the same way Elon Musk influences Twitter. The same way, whatever you do, whatever you are, you think, your vibration influences everything you touch, including your children. That's why your first goal is for you to be okay. Keep doing the mantra. You need to learn to walk and chew gum at the same time if you're going to be following me. Keep doing the mantra. I'm trying to give you extra information, but I may be interrupting your process. So let me put the mantra back up again. We're doing the Fox intention mantra. And the words are, please God help us with our intention and our peace. Because it's not really limited just to one country, to Russia or to Ukraine. And it's not really limited to the bad guys, what we consider the bad guys, or we're trained to believe are the bad guys, because it's happening in our lives. The mantra is repeated in your head. You blow the air out through your mouth. You're seated on your seat, very straight, both feet on the ground, and hopefully the Apana Mudra that wakes up the lower three chakras, which is where joy is, sex is, manifestation, love, emotions, personal power. Pretty important. Okay. This is not a long session because if you are new, and most of you will be, you're not going to have much of a tolerance for long initial session. Right now, with my followers, that we call ourselves mantristas because we do mantras. That's all it takes to call yourself a mantrista, is to do mantras. One mantra, you're a mantrista, that's it. Or deny it. No, I'm not a mantrista. I do mantras, but I'm not a mantrista. That's okay with us too. But we find that we can go on forever. We can go on. We've done sessions with 2 hours. When we did shame, that we wanted to purify shame, which everybody feels, we did 2 hours. And there were a couple of other issues where we did 2 hours of mantraing and everybody was like, oh my God, this is wonderful. How are you feeling from 1 to 10? And I don't know if we did it long enough, but how's the dress looking? I see it lighter. It was very bright, gold and white, but I see it kind of lighter, not quite so dense right now. How do you see it? Is there any change? Okay, more centered. Yeah. The neat part is that even if you're doing this for someone else, you get the benefit of it. Because in order to do this type of thing, a mantra or mudra, your bodies have to get into alignment. And once they get into alignment, you will feel safer, better, more solid, and everything you touch will be able to carry your intention rather than your frustration. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a healing now. And what I'm going to heal is the back of your heart chakra, which is where women hook their bras. And you should do the mantra, please God help me with my intention to receive. And take your breath and your consciousness to the back of your back chakra, which is that point where you hook the bra, if you have a bra. Most men will know where that is also. So please God help me with my intention to receive. And I'm going to put the music back on again. Hopefully the music sounded okay. And be ready to receive. Take your breath and the mantra to the back of your heart chakra. Okay, there was a breakthrough in the back of your heart chakra. You probably, most of you or all of you will feel a change in your breath. It will be easier to breathe. Can you feel that? Now, for those people who say, I don't feel anything, your emotions are in a totally separate energy body. Your thoughts are in those 72,000 mind streams, but your emotions are not there. Your emotions are your spirit, and if you look on the graphic, it's the gold body. It's a completely separate body. All of these flow together, one inside the other like Russian dolls. And the gold body is your spirit. It's your astral emotional body. If you cannot feel emotions, that means you've rejected your spirit, that entire part of you. And that creates so many issues you cannot even imagine. So keep going. Please God help me with my intention to receive. And I will continue. The left side of your heart chakra is moving nicely. The right side is not yet. The left side of your heart chakra is near your spleen, and the spleen is the part of your body that channels the energy of children and of projects. You're writing a thesis, you're writing a book, you're starting a company. Underneath your left breast is really important because that energy, everything about it is channeled there. That part has opened up now, which it didn't open up earlier today or yesterday or all the other times that I've done healings on the back of the heart chakra. The back is where all those bad entities are. The back is where all the ugly stuff is. So that's why I'm working on the back and not the front. You can't just work on the heart chakra. It's a little bit more complex than that. Keep going, even though, please God help me with my intention to receive. Now, if you have somebody you're worried about, you can say to God, this healing is for my mother. This healing is for my daughter. This healing is for my boyfriend. And this healing will go to them. Intention creates reality. We're so powerful. As those aliens, several times in the last 2 weeks on Twitter, we've been told that they said, you guys don't know who you are. You're so powerful. You don't know that. We're here to remind you, to teach you. I had to learn also, because definitely my power was kept truncated until relatively recently. I had more power than practically anybody, including my hand was my control. But not, I couldn't handle that. That was not, I'm telling you, which all the religions actually do tell you, but they don't remind you of it enough. But we've all been told we're gods. And then some people use the phrase creator gods. I don't like that phrase that much. You are a god. You can create. Your entire world is a reality you created together with other people, except that today we can create an individual reality, which is what the Schumann resonance apparently did for us. Keep doing the mantra. I'm continuing doing the healing. And what I'm pulling from the center of your heart chakra is like the words are lies. We've been fed lies. We've been fed lies. It's true. And those lies have kept me. I hit that part by mistake. Maybe it was my anger. We have been fed lies. But we also swallow them rather easily. My control used to say that human beings were very lazy, that they really were just sitting around waiting to die. And I think that is probably true for a lot of people, especially today. He also said that I need to stop talking because people were going to say I was crazy because they would not believe me. So I would end up in trouble and I wouldn't be helping people if I talked. And actually that was the case for many, many years. I ended up being identified as the issue. Keep doing your mantra because I'm continuing to push. I just pulled a big red ball out to the back of your heart chakra. I wonder what's in that ball. It's anger. It's red. Fire element. Let's see. Oh, this is really, really, I never know what's going to come up. This is really interesting. What I pulled out from the center of your heart chakra, which means you would not have been in touch with it, were memories that all of you have had of contact with entities when you were young. This is crazy. But I have an expression, or there's an expression about me, FRANCESFOX, la loca no está tan loca, and it means the crazy lady's not so crazy. I've said so many things through the years that sound completely bizarre, and they've been accurate, because my training was that whatever I saw, I had to see. The military and scientists were very severe. So I'm going to tell you what I see, which is completely insane. And I'm going to stop with the healing. Well, I got to finish healing it. I'll do that in a minute. Let me tell you first. Continue with your breath. You don't have to do the mantra inside of you, in where the heart chakra is at that level, but inside of you. And then I just want you to get in there. It's like this ball of yarn is inside, and I want you to get in there and start undoing the yarn. I'm going to work on it also. What memories are there? The memories, apparently all of us, when we were between 2 years old, 2 years and 4 months, and 4 years and 7 months. Somebody needs to write that down. 2 years, what I just said, now I don't even remember. We were all individually contacted by our home planets. I know. The crazy lady's crazy. Okay, just write it down, put it aside. If you feel good, come back. Don't let that stop you. Okay? Don't let this information stop you just because it sounds crazy. So at that time, every single one of us was contacted. It's a programming because it was an agreement having to do with this, the setup of this planet, that every single one of us would have an opportunity to stay in contact with our home planet and our people off planet. And we were contacted. And how that contact was handled determined whether those beings could come back or should come back. If there was a complete shutdown, if you as a child lived on candy and sugar and obsession with TV and not a lot of contact with nature, stuff that's bad for humans that we know, that would have been bad for you multidimensionally also. And you would not have been able to stay in contact with the other dimensional parts of you. So those visits would not have made a difference. So they just simply stopped. Now, I know of a lot of people from Latin America where it's easier to talk about these things that have said that they have had multiple visits. And of course, nobody talks about it. There's no education. There's not a little primer, a little book. There's no instruction manual. So most people would have either been too dense from foods or lifestyle, even as children, or it just didn't fit into what they were allowed to believe or believed in. Interesting. So tell me how your breathing is. How are you feeling? Can you tell the difference? Do you have any feedback? If you don't want to say something, you're welcome to send me something via email at frances@francesfox.com. I'm being very thoughtful because one of my hesitations with doing anything in any language but Spanish is your reception of what it is that I'm saying. It's like when you go to the university. You go in first year, second year, third year, fourth. You cannot go in automatically into fourth year. They're not going to let you because you needed the first 3 years to prepare you for year 4. Now, maybe you did 4 years in 3. I finished my university in 3 years. Okay, but I still had to take those courses. And they prepared me for the next one and for the next one and for the next one. I mean, I don't know how things are today. I'm talking about when I was in school. But we haven't been prepared. And in English, the language is even less conducive towards an acceptance of other dimensional realities, which have not augmented those realities. They were always there. You just were not in contact with it. The problem today is the veils are up, so you're getting hit with the realities of those dimensions, like the ET revelations, when maybe you're not even ready. So I would like for you, if you don't mind, even if you did not like what I presented today, or you feel I should have done it differently, if there's a suggestion, or if there's a compliment, would you please send it? And you can send it to me through direct message on Twitter because I'm not important enough yet. I still look at all my direct messages. I notice people say, don't direct message. I go, oh, darn, what an opportunity to get some. But I have a hard time answering the ones that I get in Spanish. So I totally understand when they don't. So I am going to say that you should feel better. And if you use that little measuring from 1 to 10, and I'm going to put up the graphic again. It looks even brighter right now. I always feel better after I give a healing. So when you do a mantra for someone else, like we're doing now for world peace, you will feel better. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. I'm glad that you joined me. Please recommend our channel on Twitter, which is Fox Frances, because I was a little bit dumb. I did have Frances Fox. I let it go. Who knows what I was thinking? But we're opening up this coming week in Spanish also, because we felt like we were leaving our people behind. So we'll be opening in Spanish also, and you can choose which one you want to join, depending on what language you're most comfortable with, or if it's just English. So I'm Frances Fox. I hope to be your favorite psychic spy. And I would like for you to treat all this information the way I was trained, not the tortures, not the sexual abuse, not the threats, not the blackmail. Treat it the way I was trained, which is don't judge information. You're supposed to widen your lens, which is what I'm doing here with you, getting you to widen your lens, and you're not supposed to judge. Just allow it. I mean, don't take it in, just allow it. And you don't know where to put it? Okay. So, but your lens is wider. That means when something really weird comes along, you may have a place for it in your head, and you don't just lock down from fear and respond in a way that might not be appropriate because you really didn't understand it, because you had no place to put it. So the least that following me will do for you is widen your lens. And we can argue about the details later. Right now, we're in a crisis on the planet. So please do your mantras. We'll argue later, okay? Love you a lot, and thank you for joining me. And I do know where the end stream button is.